Okay, today we're looking at section 12.3, speed, distance, time. So we have our triangle. You would have met this in science as well. We call it Dad's silly triangle. So D represents our distance, S represents speed, and T represents time. So to find out your formulas, you cover whichever one you're looking for. So if I'm looking for speed, which is S, it's D over T. If I'm looking for time, which is T, it's D over S. And if I'm looking for distance, which is D, it's S by T. Alright, so you multiply these two together, the other ones are over. Alright. So a train travels a journey of 210 kilometers in 2.5 hours. Find its average speed. Okay, so we want speed. So sometimes I'll say average speed, sometimes I'll just say speed. It's all the same. Okay, so speed is equal to D over T. So distance, so this is my distance, and this is the time. Okay, so distance is 210 kilometers, time is 2.5 hours. Okay, so your units are normally kilometers per hour or meters per second. Okay, so you can have kilometers per hour, which would mean your distance would be in kilometers, your time would be in hours, and your speed would be in kilometers per hour, or else meters per second. Again, your distance would be in meters, your time would be in seconds, and your speed would be in meters per second. So when it's in kilometers per hour, your time has to be in terms of hours. So there's two ways you can do it on the calculator. You can do it this way, 2.5 hours is fine. We can do that on our calculator. We can say 210 over 2.5 because it's 2.5 hours. All right, and you get 84 kilometers per hour. Okay, or you could have used the DMS button, which we were using yesterday. 2 hours 30 minutes. Okay, so again, your fraction button, 210 over 2 hours 30 minutes, and it'll give you the same answer. So it's fine when we're given 2.5 or 2 1/4 or 2 3/4. It's a bit different when you're given minutes, so be careful of that. I'll look at that again in a second. For example, 40 minutes. You could write it as 40 over 60 to be in terms of hours, or you could just do your 40, so 0 hours 40 minutes. Okay. And with 16 minutes, again, you'd say 16 over 60 hours, or 0 hours 16 minutes when you're using the calculator. Okay, so just be careful of your units. Okay, so another example then. A motorist travels 500 kilometers in 6 hours. Okay, so 500 kilometers, 6 hours. Her average speed for the first 2 hours, so the first 2 hours, speed was 100 kilometers per hour. So that means each hour they traveled 100 kilometers. So how much did they travel? So this is my distance, this is my time, and this is speed. Okay, so we have, this is the full journey. Okay, in the first 2 hours they traveled 100 kilometers. So what's my distance? So back up to our top, distance equals speed by time. So if I multiply this by this, I'll get what distance they traveled in the first 2 hours. So the answer is 200 kilometers. Okay, because 2 by 100. So that means the remainder of the journey they have 300 kilometers to travel and 4 hours to travel it. So find her average speed. So speed equals distance over time. So 300 divided by 4. And 300 divided by 4 is 75. 75 kilometers per hour. Sorry, I'm not going to fit it there. Okay, so 75 kilometers per hour. Alright, so there was a lot of information given there. It's just a matter of writing it down and making sense of it. So your full journey was 500 kilometres and it took 6 hours. But they told you in the first 2 hours they travelled 100 kilometres per hour. So they travelled 200 kilometres in the first 2 hours. So that meant they had 4 hours left and 300 kilometre distance to cover. And we were looking for speed. Speed equals distance over time. Okay, so going to try exercise 12.3, page 291, questions 1 to 14. Remember what I said about time? So if it's a fraction like 1.5, 1 1/4, that's fine. You can write it in as 1.5, 1.25. Or you can use the DMS button and put in 1 hour 30 minutes, 1 hour 15 minutes, whatever it is. Just be careful that you're doing that right. That's probably where the mistakes will be if there are some. Be careful as well your units are right in the question before you start. Okay.